The lesson I observed was adding 3 add-ins. Miss Bickle described to the kids that it was just like what they had done on their homework, but one more number. She went on to say that it was a little harder, but nothing that they can't handle. She passed out the whiteboards and markers, and she put this problem on the board and asked them to try it out. 7 plus 5 plus 4. She explained to the kids to draw out the numbers using cubes, longs, and flats. She walked around the room and observed what they were doing, and after a few minutes, she asked them to hold up their boards. The majority had gotten it right, and she went over it anyways. She drew out the 7 cubes, the 4 cubes, and the 5 cubes, and then combined them to make 1 long and 6 cubes, or 16. They went on to the next problem, which was problem number 2, and it was a little bit harder. 10 plus 15 plus 27. She walked around the room for a couple minutes, checking on what the kids had come up with, and she saw a reoccurring problem, which was the kids were forgetting on the last step to combine all of the cubes into a long and a few cubes left over. So she announced it once she had made it back to the front of the room that she wanted everyone to go over the last problem and make sure that if they had 10 separate cubes to make it a long. We saw multiple children erase and correct their mistake. They all held up their boards, and all but 2 got it correct. She went over the problem, showing them exactly how to combine and collect all of the cubes together to make longs. Again, she drew out the number into longs and cubes and then combined them for the kids to see. So she drew 1 long for 10, and then 1 long and 5 cubes for 15, and then 2 longs and 7 cubes for 27. And then she counted up all of the regular longs that she had, and then combined the cubes into 1 long and 2 leftover cubes. And then she moved on to problem number 3, which was 22 plus 52 plus 71. Again, she gave them a few minutes to do the problem while walking around, and she didn't give them any advice this time. After about 7 minutes, she had them hold up their boards. Some of the kids had gotten the problem wrong, so she went over it. She drew out the 2 longs and 2 cubes for 22, and then the 5 longs and 2 cubes for 52, and then the 7 longs and 1 cube for 71. And then she counted up all of the longs and marked them off as she went, and when she got to 10, she drew a flat. And then she counted up the rest of the longs and drew them over by the side of them, and then she counted up all of the cubes and put them right there, creating 145. This was the end of the lesson, and she had them pull out their math books and do problems on their own.